Reliability refers to the consistency of a measure or test. In simple terms, if you take a test or measurement multiple times, reliability means that you should get similar results each time, assuming that what you are measuring hasn't changed. High reliability indicates that the tool you are using measures accurately and consistently over time. Key concepts. 1. Types of reliability. There are several types of reliability that researchers commonly assess. 2. Test-retest reliability. This type measures the consistency of a test over time. If you take the same test on 2 different occasions and get similar results, it demonstrates high test-retest reliability. Example, if you take a personality test today and then take the same test again 2 weeks later and score similarly, the test has good test-retest reliability. 3. Inter-rater reliability. This type examines the consistency of results when different people use the same test or measurement tool. High inter-rater reliability means that different raters come up with similar scores or observations. Example, if 2 teachers assess students' essays using the same grading rubric and give similar scores, this indicates strong inter-rater reliability. 4. Internal consistency. This type refers to whether different items or questions within a test measure the same underlying concept consistently. High internal consistency means that each part of the test contributes to measuring the same thing. Example, in a survey measuring anxiety, if questions that ask about feeling nervous and questions about feeling restless all yield similar responses, the survey has high internal consistency. 5. Importance of reliability. Reliability is critical because it supports the validity of research findings. If a measurement tool is not reliable, the results may vary widely, making it difficult to draw accurate conclusions. Researchers need reliability to ensure that the tests or measurements they use are stable and dependable. 6. Measuring reliability. Researchers often use statistical methods to calculate reliability coefficients, which indicate how reliable a measure is. These coefficients range from 0 to 1, with higher values indicating better reliability. For example, a reliability coefficient of 0.9 or higher is generally considered excellent, while a coefficient below 0.7 may indicate that the measure needs improvement. Example of reliability. Let's go through a practical example to illustrate reliability. Scenario: a study on student performance. 1. Research setup. Imagine researchers want to assess students' math skills using a standardized test. They want to ensure that the test is reliable. 2. Test-retest reliability. The researchers administer the test to a group of students this week and then again 2 weeks later. If the same students achieve similar scores on both occasions, the test demonstrates high test-retest reliability. 3. Inter-rater reliability. Suppose the same student's math problem-solving process is assessed by 2 different teachers. If both teachers score the student's method similarly, the test shows high inter-rater reliability. 4. Internal consistency. If the test consists of multiple-choice questions assessing various aspects of math, the researchers analyze whether students who do well on addition also do well on subtraction. If there's a strong correlation, it indicates high internal consistency in measuring math skills. Important details. 1. Reliability versus validity. While reliability focuses on consistency, validity refers to whether a test or measure accurately measures what it claims to measure. A test can be reliable but not valid. For example, a ruler may consistently measure length but inaccurately measure the temperature. 2. Factors affecting reliability. Several factors can influence reliability, such as test conditions, test length, ambiguity in questions. Conclusion. Reliability is a vital concept in psychology and research that assesses the consistency and dependability of measurements and tests. Understanding reliability helps you evaluate how trustworthy the results of studies or assessments are. A reliable test allows researchers to draw accurate conclusions and make informed decisions based on their findings. This knowledge will be beneficial as you prepare for your CPC exam and engage with research methodologies in psychology and related fields. Observation reactivity effect. Sure. Let's explore the concept of the observation reactivity effect, which is important in psychology and research. Understanding this effect will help you recognize how awareness of being observed can influence people's behavior. We'll break down key concepts, important details, and provide examples for clarity. What is the observation reactivity effect? The observation reactivity effect refers to a change in behavior that occurs when individuals know they are being watched or observed. In simple terms, people often act differently when they know someone is paying attention to them, which can lead to biased or inaccurate results in research studies. This effect can skew the findings and limit the validity of the study. Key concepts. 1. Reactivity. Reactivity is the tendency for individuals to modify their behavior when they are aware that they are being observed. This means they might act in a way they think is expected or socially acceptable, rather than their usual behavior. 2. Impact on research. The observation effect can significantly impact research results, especially in studies that rely on naturalistic observation or self-reports. If participants change their behavior because they know they are being watched, it can make it hard to determine what their actual behavior would be in a normal setting. 3. Types of studies affected. Observational studies, where researchers watch and record behaviors in real time without interference, are especially susceptible to the observation effect. For example, if researchers are studying how people interact in a public park, individuals might change their interactions or become more reserved if they know they are being watched. Example of the observation reactivity effect. Let's consider an example to illustrate the observation reactivity effect. Scenario: a study on classroom behavior. 1. Research setup. Researchers want to observe how students behave in a classroom setting to study engagement and participation. They plan to record the students' interactions during lessons over several weeks. 2. Observation. When the researchers arrive to observe the classroom, the students become aware that their behavior is being monitored. Knowing they are being observed, some students might raise their hands more often to answer questions, while others might become quieter or less engaged than usual. 3. Impact on results. Because of the observation effect, the researchers might conclude that the classroom environment is more participative than it actually is. The data collected may not accurately reflect typical student behavior because the observation has influenced their actions. Important details. 1. Reducing the observation effect. Researchers can take steps to minimize the observation effect, such as using hidden cameras to observe behavior without participants knowing they are being watched. Natural settings, conducting observations in environments where the individuals naturally behave, like cafes or parks, without announcing that the researchers are observing them. Familiarizing participants, allowing participants to become comfortable with the observer or the recording device before starting the actual observation. This may help reduce anxiety or self-consciousness. 2. Ethical considerations. While reducing the observation effect is important, researchers must also consider the ethics of observation. It's essential to ensure participants are informed and consent to being observed, especially in settings where privacy is important. 3. Broader applications. The observation reactivity effect is relevant not only in research but also in everyday life. For instance, people might change their behavior in public when they think they are being watched, like in a job interview or during a presentation. Conclusion. The observation reactivity effect highlights how awareness of being observed can influence behavior, leading to potential bias in research findings. Understanding this effect is important for researchers to design studies that accurately reflect real-world behavior. This knowledge is valuable for your preparation for the CPC exam and helps you critically assess research methodologies in psychology and related fields. Research methodology. Sampling. Simple random sampling. Stratified sampling. Cluster sampling. Systematic sampling. Snowball sampling. Horizontal-vertical sampling. Sure. Let's explore the different types of sampling methods used in research. Understanding these methods is important because how researchers select their samples can affect the reliability and validity of their study results. We'll break down each type clearly, using simple language and examples. 1. Simple random sampling. Simple random sampling is a method where every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. This method ensures that the sample is representative of the population. Key concepts. Equal chance. Every individual has the same likelihood of being chosen. Random selection. Researchers might use random number generators or draw names from a hat. Example, if a school has 500 students and you want to select 50 for a survey, you could assign each student a number and then use a random number generator to select 50 numbers. This way, each student has an equal chance of being chosen. 2. Stratified sampling. Stratified sampling involves dividing the population into distinct groups or strata based on specific characteristics and then randomly sampling from each group. This approach ensures a representation from each group. Key concepts. Strata, groups based on characteristics. Proportional representation, researchers sample from each stratum in proportion to its size in the overall population. Example, suppose a company wants to survey its employees about job satisfaction. If there are 200 employees divided into 2 departments, researchers might choose to survey 20 from each department to ensure both groups are represented. 3. Cluster sampling. Cluster sampling involves dividing the population into clusters and then randomly selecting whole clusters to participate in the study. This method is useful when it's difficult to access the entire population. Key concepts. Clusters, groups that represent the population, such as neighborhoods or schools. Randomly selected clusters. Instead of sampling individuals from the entire population, the researchers select entire clusters. Example, if a city wants to survey its residents about city services, they could divide the city into neighborhoods and randomly select a few neighborhoods to survey instead of contacting every resident. 4. Systematic sampling. Systematic sampling involves selecting every nth individual from a list or sequence. The first individual is chosen randomly, and the rest are selected based on a fixed interval. Key concepts. Systematic selection, choose a starting point, and then select every nth individual. Interval, the fixed number between selections. Example, if you have a list of 100 students and want to select 10, you might decide to pick every 10th student. If you randomly start with the 3rd student, you would then select the 3rd, 13th, 23rd, and so on until you have your sample. 5. Snowball sampling. Snowball sampling is a non-probability sampling technique often used when researchers need to reach a specific population that is hard to access. In this method, existing study participants recruit new participants from their networks. Key concepts. Network-based recruitment. Participants help identify other participants. Useful for hard-to-reach populations, common in studies involving specific groups. Example, if researchers are studying the experiences of homeless individuals, they might start with one participant who then helps connect them with others. As more people are recruited, the sample snowballs in size. 6. Horizontal and vertical sampling. Horizontal sampling and vertical sampling are terms that relate to the levels at which the sample is taken within a population or organization. Horizontal sampling. This sampling method involves selecting samples across different segments or categories at the same level. Example, a researcher surveying employee opinions in a large company might select representatives from all departments to get a balanced view across the organization. Vertical sampling. This method involves selecting samples from different hierarchical levels or layers within an organization. Example, in studying managerial effectiveness, a researcher might sample lower-level employees, mid-level managers, and top executives to understand perspectives at different levels of the organization. Conclusion. Understanding the different sampling methods is crucial in research because the chosen method affects how representative the findings are of the larger population. Using appropriate sampling techniques helps ensure that research results are valid and can be generalized. Familiarizing yourself with these concepts will be beneficial for your CPC exam and your future studies in psychology and research methods. Operational definition. Sure. let's explore the concept of operational definition, which is important in research and psychology. Understanding operational definitions will help you grasp how researchers clarify and measure the concepts they are studying. We'll break down the key concepts, important details, and provide examples for clarity. What is an operational definition? An operational definition explains how a concept or variable would be measured or observed in a particular study. It provides a clear, specific way to define and quantify vague or abstract ideas so that others can understand exactly what the researcher means and how they are measuring it. Key concepts. 1. Clarity. Operational definitions make concepts clear and understandable. Instead of using vague terms, researchers specify exactly how they will measure their main variables. 2. Measurement. These definitions tell researchers and readers how to see, quantify, or evaluate the concept in a way that is consistent and repeatable. 3. Reproducibility. By using operational definitions, researchers help other scientists to replicate the study. This reliability is essential for verifying and validating research findings. Importance of operational definitions. Consistency. Operational definitions provide a standard way to measure concepts, ensuring that everyone understands and evaluates the same thing. Precision. They eliminate ambiguity, allowing researchers to focus on specific aspects of variables, which is crucial for accurate data collection and analysis. Foundation for research. They form the basis for hypothesizing and interpreting results, making findings more valid and reliable. Examples of operational definitions. Let's look at some examples to make the concept clearer. 1. Measuring stress. Vague definition. Stress levels will be assessed. Operational definition. Stress levels will be measured using the perceived stress scale, where participants rate their stress on a 10-item questionnaire that asks about feelings and thoughts during the last month. Scores will range from 0 to 40. Explanation. Here, the operational definition specifies the exact tool, the questionnaire format, and the scoring system, making it clear how stress will be assessed. 2. Defining academic performance. Vague definition. Academic performance will be evaluated. Operational definition. Academic performance will be measured by the student's GPA at the end of the semester, where the GPA is calculated from grades in all enrolled courses. Explanation. This operational definition clearly states that GPA will be used as the measure, providing transparency about how academic success is quantified. 3. Assessing happiness. Vague definition. Happiness will be measured. Operational definition. Happiness will be evaluated using the Oxford Happiness Questionnaire, which consists of 29 items that participants score on a scale from 1 to 6. Explanation. This definition specifies the exact questionnaire used and how participants will rate their feelings, making the measure of happiness concrete. Important details. 1. Role in research design. Operational definitions are essential when designing research studies, as they influence how data is collected and interpreted. Clear operational definitions ensure that researchers know what to look for and how to interpret their findings. 2. Implications for findings. The way a concept is operationally defined can affect the results and conclusions of research. Different definitions may lead to different findings, even under similar circumstances. 3. Adaptability. While operational definitions are specific, they can evolve based on new findings or insights. Researchers may refine their definitions as they gain better understanding or measurement tools. Conclusion. An operational definition is a crucial concept in research that specifies how a variable or concept will be measured and observed. It provides clarity and precision, making research results more reliable and understandable. By using operational definitions, researchers can communicate their methods clearly, allowing others to replicate studies and validate findings. This knowledge will be beneficial for your preparation for the CPC exam and your understanding of research methodologies and psychology. Replication. Sure. Let's explore the concept of replication in research, which is a vital aspect of the scientific method. Understanding replication will help you appreciate the reliability and validity of research findings. We'll break down key concepts, important details, and provide examples for better understanding. What is replication? Replication is the process of conducting a study again or repeating an experiment to see if the same results can be obtained. The main goal of replication is to verify that the original findings are reliable and not just a one-time occurrence due to chance or specific conditions. Key concepts. 1. Importance of replication. Replication is critical for establishing the credibility of research. Reliable findings should be consistent across different studies and settings. When scientists replicate research and achieve similar results, it strengthens the evidence for a theory or hypothesis. 2. Types of replication. Direct replication. This involves repeating the original study as closely as possible, using the same methods and procedures. Direct replication tests whether the original findings hold true under the same conditions. Conceptual replication. This type tests the same theory or hypothesis but uses different methods, measures, or populations. Conceptual replication helps to see if the findings are robust across various contexts. 3. Limitations. Sometimes, replicated studies may yield different results due to variations in sample size, conditions, or measurement techniques. A lack of replication can indicate that the original findings might have been influenced by biases or specific circumstances. Importance of replication. Building trust in science, replication helps confirm that findings are not due to random chance or errors. It builds trust in scientific results when multiple studies support the same conclusions. Identifying errors. Replication can uncover mistakes or biases in original research. If replication studies fail to reproduce results, it might prompt a re-evaluation of the original work. Advancing knowledge. Through replication, researchers refine theories and improve understanding. Consistent results can lead to stronger theories, while conflicting results can inspire new research directions. Examples of replication. 1. Original study. Suppose researchers find that a new teaching method significantly improves student test scores in math. 2. Direct replication. Other researchers replicate the study in the same school with a similar group of students. If they find similar improvements in test scores, this supports the reliability of the original study. 3. Conceptual replication. A different group of researchers may conduct a similar study in various schools with diverse demographics to see if the teaching method still works. If they find improvements again, it suggests that the teaching method is effective across different environments. 4. Medical research. In medical science, if a new drug shows promising results in treating a disease, other researchers will conduct replication studies to confirm its effectiveness. 5. Direct replication. They may replicate the original clinical trial with the same dosage and patient population. 6. Conceptual replication. Other studies might investigate different dosages or patient groups to see if the drug remains effective. Important details. 1. Challenges of replication. Replicating studies can be difficult due to factors like funding, access to data, and ethical considerations. Researchers may face challenges in using the same methodology as the original study. 2. Reproducibility crisis. In recent years, a replicability crisis has emerged in some fields, notably psychology and medicine. Many high-profile studies have failed to replicate, leading to questions about the validity of those findings. 3. Open science movement. The movement towards open science encourages sharing data, methods, and materials. This transparency can help facilitate replication and address issues in reproducibility. Conclusion. Replication is a fundamental concept in research that verifies the reliability of findings by repeating studies. It ensures that results are not flukes and strengthens scientific knowledge through confirmation. Both direct and conceptual replication play vital roles in building trust in scientific research. Understanding this concept is essential for your preparation for the CPC exam and will enhance your ability to critically evaluate research in psychology and other fields. Deductive versus inductive logic. Sure. Let's break down the topics of deductive logic and inductive logic. Both are important methods of reasoning used in problem solving, scientific thinking, and decision making. Understanding the differences between them will help you think critically and analyze arguments. We'll break down the key concepts, important details, and provide examples for clarity. What is deductive logic? Deductive logic is a method of reasoning where conclusions are drawn from general principles or premises that are assumed to be true. In simple terms, if the premises are true, the conclusion must also be true. Key concepts of deductive logic. 1. General to specific. Deductive reasoning starts with a general statement or hypothesis and applies it to a specific case. 2. Validity. The conclusion follows logically from the premises. If the premises are correct, the conclusion is guaranteed to be correct. 3. Structure. Deductive arguments typically have a formal structure, often using the format of syllogisms. Example of deductive logic. Premise 1, all humans are mortal. Premise 2, Socrates is a human. Conclusion, therefore, Socrates is mortal. In this example, because both premises are true, the conclusion must also be true. Deductive logic provides certainty if the premises are correct. What is inductive logic? Inductive logic is a method of reasoning that involves drawing generalized conclusions from specific observations or examples. In other words, it moves from specific instances to broader generalizations. Key concepts of inductive logic. 1. Specific to general. Inductive reasoning starts with specific observations and develops a general conclusion or theory from them. 2. Probability. The conclusions drawn are not guaranteed to be true. They are probable based on the evidence provided. 3. Flexibility. Inductive reasoning allows for new evidence to change or refine the conclusion. Example of inductive logic. Observation 1, the sun has risen in the east every day of my life. Observation 2, the sun rose in the east yesterday. Conclusion, the sun will rise in the east tomorrow. In this example, while the conclusion seems likely based on repeated observations, it is not guaranteed. Inductive logic is based on patterns and evidence, but new evidence could potentially lead to different conclusions. Comparison of deductive and inductive logic. Inductive logic. Direction general principles to specific cases, specific observations to general conclusions. Certainty conclusions are certain if premises are true, conclusions are probable, based on evidence. Structure formal and often follows syllogistic format, less formal, variable structure. Usefulness used in mathematics, logic, and formal arguments used in scientific research, daily reasoning, and predictions. Importance of understanding both. 1. Critical thinking. Knowing the difference between the two helps in evaluating arguments, understanding scientific reasoning, and making informed decisions. 2. Problem solving. Depending on the context, different types of logic may be more appropriate for problem solving. Deductive logic can provide definite conclusions, while inductive logic can help form hypotheses based on observations. 3. Research and science. In scientific research, deductive logic can be used to test hypotheses, while inductive logic is often used to develop those hypotheses from observed data. Conclusion. Deductive logic and inductive logic are essential methods of reasoning with different approaches to drawing conclusions. Deductive logic provides certainty through general principles, while inductive logic focuses on patterns and evidence to form general conclusions. Understanding these concepts is critical for your preparation for a CPC exam, as they will enhance your ability to think critically and analyze arguments in psychology and related fields. Naturalistic research. Absolutely. Let's break down naturalistic research, which is a key method in psychology and social sciences. Understanding naturalistic research will help you appreciate how researchers study behavior in real-world settings. We'll cover key concepts, important details, and examples to make everything clear. What is naturalistic research? Naturalistic research is a method of studying behavior in real-life settings without any manipulation or interference from the researcher. This type of research focuses on observing subjects in their natural environment, allowing researchers to gather data on how they behave in everyday situations. Key concepts. 1. Real-world context. Naturalistic research takes place in the actual environments where people live or operate, such as homes, schools, workplaces, or public places. This setting helps ensure that the behavior observed is genuine and reflective of daily life. 2. Non-intrusive observation. Researchers do not interfere with or alter the environment. Instead, they observe subjects without trying to control the situation. This means that any behaviors documented are more likely to be natural and not influenced by the presence of researchers. 3. Qualitative data. Naturalistic research often gathers qualitative data, which includes descriptions, notes, and recordings of observed behaviors. Researchers focus on understanding the context, emotions, and motivations behind behaviors rather than simply counting numbers or measuring quantities. Importance of naturalistic research. Ecological validity. One of the main strengths of naturalistic research is its high ecological validity, meaning the findings can be more easily generalized to real-life situations. Because behavior is studied in a natural context, the results are often more applicable to everyday life. Contextual understanding. Naturalistic research provides insights into how various factors in the environment interact with behavior. Understanding these dynamics can illuminate reasons behind specific behaviors or social interactions. Examples of naturalistic research. 1. Observing child behavior. A researcher might study how children interact on a playground without intervening. They would sit on a bench and watch children play, noting their interactions, emotional expressions, and problem-solving strategies. This observation could reveal important patterns about how children learn social skills. 2. Workplace dynamics. A researcher may want to understand collaboration in a corporate office. Instead of conducting interviews or surveys, they could observe teams working together in their usual environment. This allows them to gather insights about communication styles, teamwork challenges, and the overall workplace culture without influencing the interactions. 3. Animal behavior. A biologist studying a particular species of birds might observe their nesting habits in their natural habitat. By recording their behavior during different seasons, the researcher can gain insights into their feeding habits, mating rituals, and responses to environmental changes. Important details. 1. Limitations of naturalistic research. Lack of control. Since researchers do not manipulate variables, it can be difficult to identify cause and effect relationships. If a certain behavior is observed, researchers might not be able to determine why it occurred. Observer bias. The researcher's own beliefs or expectations might influence their observations or interpretations. It's essential for researchers to remain objective and aware of their biases. Time-consuming. Naturalistic research can take a lot of time, as researchers often need to spend extended periods observing behavior to capture enough data for analysis. 2. Ethical considerations. Researchers must consider the ethical implication of observing individuals without their knowledge. In some cases, it may be necessary to obtain consent from participants, especially in sensitive settings. Researchers should prioritize the welfare and privacy of those being studied. Conclusion. Naturalistic research is a valuable method for studying behavior in real-world settings, offering insights that controlled experiments may not provide. By observing subjects in their natural environment without interference, researchers can gather rich, qualitative data that enhances our understanding of human and animal behavior. This knowledge will be especially helpful for your preparation for the CPC exam and in your understanding of various research methodologies used in psychology and social sciences. Confederates accomplices. Sure. Let's explore the concepts of confederates and accomplices in psychological research. Understanding these terms will help you grasp how researchers sometimes use individuals who are part of the study but are not part of the actual experimental subject group. We'll break down the key concepts, important details, and provide examples to make everything clear. What are confederates? Confederates are individuals who are secretly part of the research study but act like regular participants. They are in on the study but do not let the actual participants know. Their role is to help the researchers manipulate the situation or to collect data in specific ways. Key concepts of confederates. 1. Role in research. Confederates can play various roles depending on the study. They might act as subjects, provide specific reactions, or create certain social situations that help researchers analyze behaviors and responses. 2. Deception. Using confederates often involves some level of deception. Participants may think they are interacting only with other participants, when in fact, some individuals are working with the researchers to facilitate the experiment. 3. Control and validity. Confederates help researchers control certain variables in an experiment, allowing for more reliable results. By creating a consistent and controlled environment, researchers can better assess how participants react to different situations. Examples of confederates. 1. Social influence studies. In Solomon Asch's famous conformity experiments, confederates were used to influence participants' responses to visual tasks. When participants were asked to match the length of a line with 3 comparison lines, confederates purposely gave incorrect answers to see if the real participant would conform to the group's wrong choice. This setup helped illustrate the effects of group pressure on individual judgment. 2. Bystander effect experiment. In studies examining the bystander effect, researchers use confederates to simulate an emergency situation. For instance, if a confederate feigns a medical emergency in a public place, researchers can observe how many people intervene to help. This helps researchers understand how people respond in real-life emergencies. What are accomplices? Accomplices are similar to confederates in that they are also part of the research team, but they may not necessarily be involved in the study's main goals. Instead, they might serve as support personnel or help manage the study's logistics. Although the terms are sometimes used interchangeably, accomplices usually indicate a broader set of individuals involved in the study. Key concepts of accomplices. 1. Support roles. Accomplices might help set up experiments, manage participant flow, or maintain the integrity of the study by interacting with real participants without directly influencing the outcomes. 2. Less deceptive. While accomplices may still be part of the research effort, their role is often less deceptive than that of confederates. They may not need to hide their identity from participants. Examples of accomplices. 1. Facilitating research. In a study investigating group dynamics, accomplices may be part of the research team that helps facilitate group discussions or activities. They ensure that everything runs smoothly while the researchers observe from a distance. 2. Data collection. Accomplices may assist researchers in collecting data or administering questionnaires to participants. They play supportive roles to help the main researchers focus on data analysis and interpretation. Important details. 1. Ethical considerations. The use of confederates and accomplices raises ethical issues, particularly regarding deception. Researchers must ensure that the benefits of the research outweigh potential risks or discomfort for participants. Ethical guidelines may require informed consent or debriefing after the study to clarify the role of confederates. 2. Impact on results. The inclusion of confederates can significantly impact the findings of a study, as they may shape participants' behaviors and responses in ways that are crucial for the research question. Conclusion. Confederates and accomplices are key components in social psychology research that help researchers explore complex behaviors and social dynamics. Confederates are typically involved in the study in a deceptive capacity to influence participant responses, while accomplices often play supportive roles that help manage the research process. Understanding these concepts is important for your preparation for the CPC exam and will enhance your comprehension of how psychological studies are designed and conducted. Counterbalancing. Sure. Let's explore the concept of counterbalancing, which is an important technique used in research, especially in psychology. Understanding counterbalancing will help you see how researchers control for potential biases when studying the effects of different stimuli or conditions. We'll break down the key concepts, important details, and provide examples for clarity. What is counterbalancing? Counterbalancing is a method used in experimental designs to control for the effects of the order in which stimuli or conditions are presented to participants. When researchers change the order of stimuli or tasks, they can minimize the influence of order effects on the results of the study. Key concepts. 1. Order effects. Order effects occur when the sequence in which participants experience various conditions influences their responses. For example, if participants complete a difficult task first, they may feel fatigued when they attempt an easier task later. By changing the order of conditions, researchers can determine if any observed effects are due to the conditions themselves or simply the order in which they were presented. 2. Balancing. Counterbalancing ensures that each condition is experienced an equal number of times in different orders. This helps researchers distribute any potential order effects evenly across all conditions. 3. Types of counterbalancing. Complete counterbalancing. This involves presenting all possible orders of conditions to participants. For example, if a study has 3 conditions, researchers will create every possible order and ensure that different participants experience each order. Partial counterbalancing. Instead of using all possible orders, researchers may use a limited set of orders. This simplifies the design while still reducing order effects. For example, with 3 conditions, researchers might select just a few orders to represent the conditions. Importance of counterbalancing. Eliminating bias. Counterbalancing helps eliminate biases that could arise if participants consistently experience conditions in the same order. This leads to more reliable and valid results. Improving internal validity. By controlling for order effects, researchers can be more confident that any observed differences in responses are due to the experimental conditions rather than the order in which those conditions were experienced. Examples of counterbalancing. 1. Cognitive tasks. Suppose researchers want to study the effects of 2 different types of memory tasks on participants' recall abilities. If all participants did task A first and then task B, differences in performance might be due to fatigue from task A. To counterbalance, half the participants could do task A first and then task B, while the other half does task B first and then task A. This way, any effects from the order of tasks will be evenly distributed. 2. Taste tests. In a study testing different flavors of ice cream, researchers might want to see if flavor preference changes based on the order the flavors are tasted. If all participants taste vanilla, then chocolate, they might prefer chocolate simply because it's the last one they tried. To counterbalance, some participants could taste the flavors in the order of vanilla, then chocolate, while others taste chocolate first, followed by vanilla. This ensures that preference is not simply a result of the order in which flavors are tasted. Important details. 1. Sample size. Counterbalancing may require larger sample sizes, especially with complete counterbalancing, as more participants are needed to represent all possible orders effectively. 2. Complexity. While counterbalancing is an effective technique, it can make experimental design more complex, especially as the number of conditions increases. The more conditions there are, the more orders need to be created. 3. Analysis. Researchers must carefully analyze data to account for any effects of order that may still be present, even with counterbalancing. This helps ensure that the conclusions drawn from the research are accurate. Conclusion. Counterbalancing is a critical technique in research that helps control for order effects when presenting stimuli or conditions. By changing the order in which tasks or conditions are experienced, researchers can eliminate biases and improve the validity of their findings. Understanding counterbalancing will be valuable for your preparation for the CPC exam and in your comprehension of experimental design in psychology and other fields. Multiple treatment interference. Sure. Let's explore the concept of multiple treatment interference in research. Understanding this topic is important because it helps you see how different treatments or conditions can affect each other and influence the results of a study. We'll break down key concepts, important details, and provide examples for clarity. What is multiple treatment interference? Multiple treatment interference occurs when participants in a research study experience more than one treatment or condition, and the effect of one treatment impacts the effectiveness or reaction to another treatment. This interference can make it difficult to determine how each treatment independently affects the outcome. Key concepts. 1. Independent effects. In an ideal study, each treatment should produce an independent effect on the participants. However, when participants are exposed to multiple treatments, the results from one treatment may be influenced by the others, making it hard to figure out which treatment is responsible for specific outcomes. 2. Confounding variables. Multiple treatment interference can lead to confounding variables, where the influence of one treatment confuses or masks the effects of another. This can affect the validity of the study results. 3. Order and recency effects. When participants receive multiple treatments in a certain order, the timing can also play a role. For example, if a participant first experiences a strong treatment and then a milder one, they might only rate the milder treatment less favorably due to their prior experience. Importance of understanding multiple treatment interference. Validity of results. Recognizing and controlling for multiple treatment interference is essential for ensuring that the results of a study accurately reflect the true effects of each individual treatment. If interference is not accounted for, conclusions drawn from the study may be misleading. Study design. Researchers need to carefully plan their studies to minimize the chances of multiple treatment interference. This includes considerations of how treatments are administered and the timing of each treatment. Examples of multiple treatment interference. 1. Medication trials. Imagine a study testing the effects of two different medications for anxiety. If participants take both medications in the same study without a proper washout period, the effects of one medication could interfere with the other. For example, if medication A reduces anxiety significantly and participants take medication B shortly after, it may become difficult to assess the effectiveness of medication B since its effects could be influenced by medication A. 2. Psychological interventions. In a study comparing two therapeutic approaches for depression, if participants engage in both therapies simultaneously, their experiences might blend together. This could lead to confusion about which approach is truly beneficial. If a participant feels better after experiencing both therapies, it is unclear which one, if either, was responsible for the improvement. 3. Educational programs. Consider an educational research study that tests two different teaching methods in the same classroom. If some students learn using method X for a certain period and then switch to method Y, their performance might be affected not only by the new method but also by how well they learned using the previous one. This makes it challenging to determine the effectiveness of each method. Important details. 1. Strategies to mitigate interference. Researchers can use several strategies to control for multiple treatment interference. Randomization. Randomly assigning participants to different treatment groups can help reduce interference by evenly distributing potential confounding variables. Washout periods. Implementing breaks between treatments allows the effects of one treatment to dissipate before introducing another, reducing interference. Counterbalancing. Using counterbalancing techniques can help to control for order effects and minimize the impact of one treatment on another. 2. Analyzing data. When analyzing data, researchers must consider the possibility of multiple treatment interference and determine how it may affect the results. They may use statistical methods to adjust for confounding variables or interpret results cautiously when multiple treatments have been applied. Conclusion. Multiple treatment interference is an important concept in research that highlights the complications that arise when participants receive more than one treatment or condition. Understanding this interference helps researchers design better studies and draw more accurate conclusions about the effects of each treatment. Being aware of multiple treatment interference is essential for your preparation for the CPC exam and will enhance your understanding of experimental design in psychology and other fields. Case study. Sure. Let's explore the concept of a case study, which is a research method often used in psychology and other social sciences. Understanding this topic is important because case studies can provide rich, detailed insights into individual behaviors, experiences, and conditions. We'll break down the key concepts, important details, and provide examples for clarity. What is a case study? A case study refers to an in-depth examination of a single individual, group, or situation. The N represents the number of participants in the study, and in this case, 1 indicates that the focus is on just one subject. This method is used to gather detailed qualitative data that may help researchers understand complex issues. Key concepts. 1. Intensive exploration. Case studies allow researchers to conduct an exhaustive analysis of one particular case. This can involve collecting various types of data, such as interviews, observations, documents, and other relevant information. 2. Qualitative data. Case studies typically focus on qualitative data, which includes non-numerical information that helps researchers understand the subject's thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and experiences. 3. Contextual understanding. Since case studies provide rich details about the context in which something occurs, they can help researchers understand the factors that might influence behavior or outcomes. 4. Exploratory research. Case studies are often used for exploratory research, especially when a topic is not well understood or when researchers want to investigate a unique or rare phenomenon. Importance of case studies. Depth of insight. By focusing on one case, researchers can gain deep insights into the complexities of human behavior or experiences that might be missed in larger studies. Theory development. Case studies can help develop new theories or refine existing ones by providing detailed examples of how theories play out in real life. Real-world application. Findings from case studies can inform practical applications, interventions, or therapies based on individual needs and circumstances. Examples of case studies. 1. Psychological disorders. A famous example of a case study is the story of Phineas Gage, a railroad worker who survived a severe brain injury when an iron rod accidentally went through his skull. Before the accident, he was known to be responsible and sociable, but afterward, his personality changed dramatically. Researchers studied his case to learn about the relationship between brain function and personality, contributing to our understanding of the impact of brain injuries on behavior. 2. Rare medical conditions. A researcher may conduct a case study on a patient with a rare disease. By documenting the patient's symptoms, treatment, and response over time, the researcher can provide valuable insights into the condition, which may help inform future medical practices or research on similar cases. 3. Therapeutic interventions. A therapist might conduct a case study on one client undergoing cognitive behavioral therapy for anxiety. By tracking the client's progress, detailing their experiences in therapy, and noting the techniques that work best, the therapist can better understand how CBT affects individuals and refine their approach for future clients. Important details. 1. Limitations. While case studies provide in-depth insights, they also have limitations. Generalizability. Findings from a single case may not be applicable to other individuals or situations. This means that researchers must be careful about making broad conclusions based on one case. Bias. The researcher's subjectivity may influence the interpretation of data, as personal feelings or beliefs can affect how information is analyzed. 2. Ethical considerations. Researchers conducting case studies should consider ethical issues, such as informed consent and confidentiality. Participants must understand the study's purpose and agree to share their experiences. 3. Complementary to other methods. Case studies are often used alongside other research methods. Combining qualitative case studies with quantitative research can lead to a more comprehensive understanding of a topic. Conclusion. A case study is a valuable research method that allows for deep exploration of a single individual, group, or situation. This approach provides rich qualitative data and contextual insights, helping researchers understand complex behaviors and conditions. While case studies have limitations, they play a crucial role in theory development and real-world application. Understanding this method will be beneficial for your preparation for the CPC exam and will enhance your comprehension of research methodologies used in psychology and social sciences. Sources of information and research. ERIC. Sure. Let's explore ERIC, which is an important resource for students, educators, and researchers in the field of education. Understanding what ERIC is and how it works will help you access valuable educational materials and research. We'll break down key concepts, important details, and provide examples for better understanding. What is ERIC? ERIC is a comprehensive online database that provides access to a wide range of education-related literature, including journals, research reports, conference papers, and other educational resources. It was established to help improve education by making research and information available to educators, researchers, and the public. Key concepts. 1. Purpose. ERIC's main goal is to provide a platform for accessing high-quality educational research and resources. It serves as a key source of information for people who want to improve teaching methods, educational policies, and learning outcomes. 2. Types of materials. ERIC includes various types of materials, such as peer-reviewed journals, articles that have been evaluated by experts in education before publication, research reports, detailed studies that present findings from educational research, conference papers, presentations or papers discussed at educational conferences, dissertations and theses, in-depth research projects completed as part of graduate studies. 3. Accessibility. ERIC provides free access to many of its resources, making it easier for anyone interested in education to find relevant information. However, some materials may link to publishers' websites where a subscription or payment is required. Importance of ERIC. Resource for educators. ERIC is a valuable tool for teachers and administrators seeking evidence-based practices, teaching strategies, and information about educational innovations. Supports research. Researchers can use ERIC to find comprehensive literature on specific topics in education and to stay updated on recent studies and developments in the field. Informs policy. Policymakers and advocates can draw on the research available through ERIC to make informed decisions about education policies and reforms. How to use ERIC. 1. Searching the database. Users can search ERIC by keywords related to their topics of interest. This makes it easy to find specific studies, articles, or reports on subjects like teaching methods, student achievement, or educational technology. 2. Refining searches. ERIC allows users to refine their searches by various criteria, such as publication date, audience, or type of publication. This helps narrow down the search results to find the most relevant resources. 3. Accessing full text. Many resources on ERIC include links to full texts, while others may provide abstracts and information on how to access the full articles elsewhere. Examples of using ERIC. 1. Finding research on classroom management. A teacher looking for effective classroom management strategies can search ERIC for articles and studies that discuss various techniques and their effectiveness in different educational settings. 2. Exploring technology in education. A graduate student researching the impact of technology on learning can use ERIC to find recent research reports and journal articles that evaluate how technology enhances or changes educational practices. 3. Informing educational policy. A school administrator interested in improving student literacy rates can access studies on successful reading intervention programs through ERIC, allowing them to make informed decisions about program adoption. Important details. 1. History of ERIC. ERIC was established in 1966 and is managed by the Institute of Education Sciences within the U.S. Department of Education. Over the years, it has evolved to include a vast array of educational resources. 2. ERIC Digests. ERIC also provides short summaries called ERD that summarize key findings from longer reports or studies. These digests make it easier to quickly grasp essential information without having to read lengthy texts. 3. Limitations. While ERIC is a valuable resource, users should be aware that not all education-related literature exists in the database. Some local or less formal studies may not be included, so it's essential to explore other resources as well. Conclusion. ERIC is an essential online database that provides access to a wealth of educational materials and research. By understanding how to use ERIC, educators, researchers, and students can tap into the latest findings and best practices in education, making it easier to enhance teaching and learning. Familiarizing yourself with ERIC will be beneficial for your studies, especially as you prepare for the CPC exam and your future endeavors in education. Primary versus secondary resources. Certainly. Let's break down the concepts of primary versus secondary resources. Understanding these types of resources is important for conducting research and evaluating information, especially in fields like psychology, history, and social sciences. We'll go over key concepts, important details, and provide examples to make everything clear. What are primary resources? Primary resources are original materials or documents that provide direct evidence or first-hand accounts of events, experiences, or research. They are created at the time something happens or right after, and they have not been altered or interpreted by others. Key characteristics of primary resources. 1. Originality. Primary resources are original works or first-hand pieces of evidence, meaning they have not been modified or analyzed by others. 2. Direct source. They offer direct insight into a subject, event, or phenomenon. 3. Variety. Primary resources can take many forms, including diaries and journals, personal reflections or daily records of experiences. Interviews, direct conversations or discussions with individuals. Photographs and artifacts, visual or physical evidence from the time of the event. Research reports, findings and data from original research studies. Letters and correspondence, written communication, such as letters or emails. Example of primary resources. Historical document, a letter written by a soldier during World War II describing battlefield experiences. Scientific study, a peer-reviewed journal article presenting original research findings on a psychological experiment. Personal diary, the diary of Anne Frank, which provides a personal account of her life during the Holocaust. What are secondary resources? Secondary resources are analyses, interpretations, or summaries of primary resources. They discuss, evaluate, or comment on primary materials, providing second-hand accounts of information. Secondary resources help to contextualize or analyze the original material. Key characteristics of secondary resources. 1. Interpretative. Secondary resources interpret or analyze primary data rather than presenting it directly. 2. Contextualization. They provide background information, critique, or summaries of primary resources, helping readers understand the significance of the primary materials. 3. Types of secondary resources. These can include textbooks, books that summarize and explain theories, research, or historical events. Review articles. Articles that summarize findings from multiple research studies in a particular area. Biographies, accounts of a person's life written by someone else. Documentaries, films that explore events and people through analysis and narration, often using primary resources for content. Example of secondary resources. Textbook, a psychology textbook providing an overview of theories and research on anxiety disorders. Biography, a book about the life of Martin Luther King Jr. that includes interpretations and insights based on primary sources like speeches and letters. Review article, an article summarizing various studies on the effects of social media on mental health, drawing upon several primary research articles. Importance of understanding primary versus secondary resources. 1. Research. When conducting research, knowing the difference between primary and secondary resources helps you assess the reliability and originality of the information you're using. 2. Critical thinking. Understanding how resources relate to each other enables you to think critically about the material and its context. 3. Depth of knowledge. Engaging with primary sources can provide a deeper understanding of a topic, while secondary sources help you gain broader insights and historical context. Summary of differences. Conclusion. The distinction between primary and secondary resources is crucial for understanding research and information gathering. Primary resources provide original insights and first-hand accounts, while secondary resources offer analyses and interpretations of those original materials. Recognizing the differences between these two types of resources will improve your research skills and critical thinking, especially as you prepare for the CPC exam and your future studies in psychology and related fields. SPSS. Sure. Let's explore SPSS, a powerful software application used in statistical analysis for various fields, especially in social sciences like psychology, sociology, and education. Understanding SPSS will help you analyze research data effectively. We'll break down key concepts, important details, and provide examples for clarity. What is SPSS? SPSS is a software program used for statistical analysis. It allows researchers to input, manipulate, and analyze data efficiently. SPSS is widely used in social sciences, health research, marketing, and many other fields that require data analysis. Key concepts. 1. Data management. SPSS helps in managing and organizing data. You can input data from surveys, experiments, or other sources and arrange it in a way that makes it easy to analyze. 2. Statistical analysis. With SPSS, you can perform a variety of statistical analyses, such as descriptive statistics. These include measures like averages, medians, and standard deviations, which summarize the basic features of the data. Inferential statistics. Techniques like t-tests, ANOVA, regression analysis, and chi-square tests help you make predictions or inferences about a population based on sample data. Correlation. Assessing the relationship between two variables to see if they are related and how strong that relationship is. 3. User-friendly interface. SPSS has a graphical user interface, making it accessible for users who may not be familiar with programming. Users can perform complex analysis